So hello, and today is not a combo guide, a tier list, flavors character. I'll be trying to influence your opinion of certain characters in any way, shape, or form. What we are doing is a series of case studies on all characters in Dragon Ball Fighter Z on this very hot day in obviously London, UK. And today we're covering Makemo Fumada. We are covering the demon himself, Broly, the Z Broly. Now, at a glance, when you first see Broly, not only does he have the most menacing look, Broly's normals, packed with armor, packed with damage, it just screams supreme violence. So if you enjoy characters that cause carnage, that hurt every single time, they hit someone, that you feel every single hit, then Broly's for you. Especially with his range of command grabs, armor. He was such a powerful character. He just feels very good on the hand. So if that's the type of character, go for it. Now, as always in these case studies, we talk about zones. So we're going to talk about up close, mid range, and far. Now, while we talk about these zones, we're going to go across buttons, in the air, supers, specials, and before we move on to win conditions and game plan. So last but not least, let's begin. So, Broly at a glance, put guard on. His 5L has a great range. 7 frames and it's only -2. So this, he can't chain it, and he can't change his 2L as well, which is -2 as well. So primarily he will either end his strings here or continue them. His LL again being -2, which is fantastic, even though Broly himself can't fight against characters with faster buttons. This is really good for kind of continuing pressure with Broly. His 5M is probably one of the only ones he has punishable, being at -11. And once you go into his MC, where it's invincible, so it's not invincible immediately. It's invincible after a while. So after he's put it out for a while, then it has some invincibility. So let's just say frames 4 and over. His 2M has some invincibility as well, as you can see there. What that means is it's got some armor towards it. So if I do this, same for, okay, let's go, keep going, sorry. This is only -5. I did show the special, that's 2 for 6. Oh, we'll go on that next. It's 5H, great range. 5M as well, round start. 5H hits at round start as well. This is minus and he can charge it, being the exact same on block. It's 2H. Everything, all of his mediums and heavies all have armor. That's why you see the invincibility there. So his 2H has a bit of armor on it. So if your opponent is a bit slow, this is very good for absorbing a button and hitting someone. Broly also has a great cross-up end. So this is kind of a primary tool Broly will use versus a lot of characters. His JL is quite good as well. If you combine that with JL and M, if he's facing taller characters, he's able to do that as well. His JM again has the armor to it as well. So it's got that armor, but it's not instantly, so he does have the armor as well. So this is a great approach tool for stopping your opponent pressing buttons when they are on the ground. And in the air, he also has 2H, J2H, which he will primarily use as a combo ender. When you're in the air, your opponent is there, and you can cancel that as well. Now, supers, Broly's got quite a few. 2 for 6. Got 3 bars. So 2 for 6 L plus M does this version. If you do, this is when it hits. So how this looks like, this will be a hitting one. And then if you do the HS version, he just throws the ball. So this is really helpful in certain combo situations where this is a bit slower to kind of hit and do this. Broly has this able to do this. Now that doesn't just extend towards his level 1, that also goes to his level 3 as well. You can't do level 1 in the air. His level 3, he's got 2 versions. So his version 1 of his level 3, which you can do in the air, on the ground, within your presence. The slower version, HS, this he can extend and do more combos in the corner. And the LM version, 214 LM, is really fast. So that will get to you instantly. So it's good to kind of mix up on wake up or just in combos. It gives devastating combos combined if you do them correctly. Now let's go into specials. Broly does have a chunk of them. So 2v6L, we saw that this is invincible immediately. By invincible we mean it has armor. So as you see there, in this situation, this is normally 0 on block. Broly is able to throw this out. So he can't do that with his mediums. So do that with his mediums. He can't do that with any of his mediums or his heavies. But with 2v6L, he can throw it out. So this is a great tool to use versus characters to have faster buttons than you. So you've got 2v6M, take straight to the corner. Lariat Express, 2v6H is a bit faster, the exact same as the others. His 214L, this is one of his main tools. Again, this has armor. So if you look at it right here, Broly is able to grab here. So your opponent won't be able to mash in certain situations. So if you were doing jab, this is -2. So by all rights, I should be beaten there. And as you can see there, even there from the heavy, which is -11, he's able to get the command grab. So your opponent actually isn't able to quote unquote mash versus Z Broly. So your opponent has to play kind of a different game in playing this character. The L version is one of the fastest in the game, being at 17. The M version is a bit slower, but allows for unique combo follow-ups when you're in the corner. And the H version makes it a bit easier for you to land combos as well. And yeah, that's the majority of Broly's specials. The biggest one actually is this 214S. I see it says projectiles. While this is up, he's invulnerable to projectiles. So if our Broly was doing this S, you see that? So Broly is a real machine. It takes some time to start up, however, but when it is up, Broly is able to automatically deflect away from 5S's. So not only is he great himself with his 5S, you see this game here, his one can be controlled. So if you do it up, you can hold up. You can do it when you're air as well. So you can hold up, so you can really do rapid fire. So not only is he great at doing this, but he himself can stop you from doing it. He's 236S. We talked about invincibility. This one has it as well. But your opponent can block. So it's just the CPU getting hit here, but your opponent can block. But that, you see that as well. So you can do 236S there. So Broly will combine this with this and to stop super dashes. So you saw that it does have some startup time and it is punishable. So your opponent can level through full screen. Something to think about. Now I could spend so long talking about specials and all of what Broly has, but let's jump into win conditions, game plan, and what these characters kind of are looking for from partners. Now Broly as a character himself, we saw in the mid-range, he does have unsafe ways of getting in here, but when he's inside, Broly has great stagger pressure. So we saw he has amazing stagger pressure, being at -2. Basically inviting the opponent to press buttons. So he's inviting the opponent to press. However, at certain stages, like here, at certain points, your opponent will challenge. So Broly himself can stagger. So if we do this, he can stagger to try and beat his opponent mashing, but he really enjoys assists that allow him to be liberal with his stagger pressure, but allow him to use stagger pressure. So if we play with Android 18, Broly does a heck load of damage. So while he's doing his staggers and inviting his opponent to press buttons whilst doing stuff like this, Broly can also use assists to allow him to do that as well. He doesn't have to, but he can. So if with Trunks A assist, we don't have to with Trunks. So Trunks not so much, but we saw with 18 was able to help him do that. And Broly mid-screen, he has really no safe way to engage mid-screen. So assists that allow him to traverse that space are the ones he needs. So at this range here, Broly enjoys assists that will kind of hit his opponent so that he can get to working. So we saw with 18, it wasn't really helpful. However, he can use 236L himself to traverse the space. So you see here, you can use him to engage here. So Broly himself can engage, or even he can use 236L plus assist. And we saw it works with both assists. So Broly enjoys assists that allow him to do it because when he's inside, as we saw, he has so many options. So we can see with Trunks' A assist, Broly is able to get in 18. Broly is able to do combos as well there. So these are what he's kind of looking for in a partner. Let's try with their B assists. Now with their B assists, obviously here, you can press destruct with this and he's in. So you see this is really helpful to Broly. Because right here from the whole of the mid range, he has a projectile that's allowing him to run behind it. Combined with his armor, your opponent is really afraid to kind of press buttons there. We talk about stagger pressure. Let's see 18 and stagger pressure again right there. We see 18 really helpful. So we see that there now Trunks is B assist. We see it's a beam, so it controls the whole horizontal plane. So Broly doesn't particularly need it, but it is helpful to get him in Broly's plane. To get really the express started, and in staggers or safe way to engage and traversing space, we see B assist helps. With staggers, not so much. He doesn't really need help there, but you can use the beam assist if you really want to. You don't really have to. See, as you there, so Trunks with B assist we might not kind of use this for that. Now with C assists, and if you are playing Broly, so you have 18. If you need in stagger pressure, potentially you could use this with command grabs. So you're not able to get it there. So yeah, if my opponent is mashing there, see, it's not really helpful there. We do it with Trunks', not really helpful. Because like I said, this is an instant. If we see there, we try to do tap command grab, it's not instant, so your opponent can mash. So those two assists aren't really helpful. If we go to the other side, we have we have S Broly's A assist, but that's really helpful with him being a bit more liberal up close. Let's see if we help him. Actually, it's not actually. So we see that. So because of his height, it's not really helpful. However, it's really good for helping him engage from mid-screen. So that's something you would use. Zamasu as well. Clearly, it helps him engage from full screen. So Broly can start his own pressure, but however, up close, especially if Broly does command grab. If Broly was to whiff command grab, for instance, if my opponent was to jump, it's a bit too slow there, so probably these assists you gotta think about. You might not use, so they're great for engaging mid-screen, but they're not so great with helping his stagger pressure. But as we saw, Broly doesn't really need help. You just need to know how to beat options. Now we can spend forever talking about what's great with Broly and what's not great with Broly. I mean, what is great with Broly, but let's talk about what's not so great or fighting against him. Now, obviously he's a terror with the command grab into big damage, obviously once he has 3 bars. However, when he's full screen without resources, he has to take a lot of risks. So yes, he's throwing out this and inviting his opponent. But aside from doing this and this, he's not really doing anything yet. To put up the barrier here, your opponent can be actually ready to punish something like that. So we'll have a super dash or with a beam of their own or even a level 3. So from this range here, and even up close, when he has no resources, Broly's actually taking quite a bit of risk. So we see here, with the command grabs that Broly does here, they're not doing a lot of damage. If you're doing the M grab, it's a bit slower, so your opponent is able to react there. If you grab straight away, so unless your opponent's mashing buttons there, Broly's taking a bit of risk. So every single time you're doing this to gain only a little bit of damage, it only takes your opponent 1 level 3 to kind of take out a lot of damage. So that's something Broly has to kind of be wary of. He's doing all of this pressure as well, so he can safely disengage. So Broly can do stuff like this to safely disengage. But he does have to take some risk when he does these things. And the damage off of his L command grab alone, it won't kill a patient opponent. So while you're doing all of this, this isn't necessarily going to kill an opponent, no matter how many times you grab them. If I have no bar and do this, it's not really going to kill an opponent. At best, they're going to lose some damage off the L command grab. So your opponents can get wind of this, so they can kind of learn your staggers. So Broly, you have to kind of focus on the staggers, because here there's no damage. So you really have to be the Broly player has to be really smart about when they're using command grabs and when are they taking risk versus certain players. Now let's go back to the character select screen. So we saw that with Broly, one thing he's looking for in obviously his partners, he's very powerful in the corner. Now the more meter Broly gains, the bigger the threat of the command grab is. So the more he's more liberal to use stagger pressure, and assists that allow him to do that, they really help for him. So we saw with 18, he's able to stagger, gain this bar with 18, and we saw with Trunks with 18's A and B assist, they were both able to help him stagger and also help him engage from full screen. So it allows him to traverse a lot of space to really apply that pressure up close. We saw with Trunks' A assist, it was helpful a tiny bit to kind of traverse the from mid screen, but we saw with the A assist and the B assist, it didn't really help in his stagger pressure or helping him be more liberal with using staggers and not inviting his opponent to press buttons. So you probably have to think about what assist you're using there. We saw with C assist they're a bit slower, so something that he may or may not use because he himself is a damaging tank. We saw with Zamasu assist, it was really helpful for him engaging from that mid screen, but again it wasn't really helping with his stagger pressure. But Broly himself doesn't really need help in that area, but he can use assist. We saw it himself when he with S Broly, it helped him there, but stagger pressure did. Now fighting against Broly, we talked about without resources full screen and up close, he actually has to take some risk. He's either doing IADs or he's super dashing or throwing out S's which aren't going to do any damage there by themselves. So he does have to take some risk, and he does have to either convert with Vanish to kind of deal this damage that he has to do. His damage gain from his L command grab alone also won't kill a patient opponent. So even if he's doing L command grabs and the damage adding up, both you and your opponent are gaining bar. So he has to be very, very careful with using that. Now I hope that helps. Hope this helps someone. You know, like I said, we're not here trying to influence you in any shape, way, or form. We're really trying to talk about characters and really think about our character choices and how we can help our characters kind of develop as we are playing them. I know I didn't talk about Broly's 214L grabs and all of his up grabs. Outside of combos and using them to anti-air, that's something else entirely. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a like if you liked the video, comment if you didn't. I don't really mind either way. See you in the next video. Peace.